Hi everybody, Carrie Headley here with Head in the Game Fitness. All right, a couple weeks ago I put up my very first video blog, my vlog, and I'm going to try and continue with that. It's a little more relatable to sit here and talk face to face with me, hear me, see me, get a feel for who I am. And selfishly, this is going to be a little bit easier for me, I think, than typing everything out because writing really I enjoy it, but it takes me a long time to get my ideas across. So we're going to try this. So the uh, topic for today is good enough and kind of our perception about that, our headspace around it, what we think good enough means, and really how we can use good enough to help us get closer to our goals and take a lot of pressure off of ourselves, reframe how we think about this. All right, so I guess the first thing I want to talk about is how we view good enough. I'm a self-proclaimed perfectionist and I'm working really hard to kind of back out of that space where I have to have everything perfect, just so. And in my mind, for a lot of years, it was that if it wasn't perfect, it wasn't good enough. And what that really bred for me was a mindset of where I wouldn't try a lot of things because if I didn't believe I could do it perfect or without failure, then I didn't want to attempt it. It also created this feeling of unworthiness in me because, as you know, nothing is ever perfect. And if you happen to be a perfectionist, like I've been for a lot of years, what happens is you can always see how there would be something more, something better, someone else did it this way, what have you. So there is no perfection. Like logically, we know perfect isn't a thing, but yet when we're in that mindset, we can't step away from it very easily. So it just led to all sorts of comparison, and I couldn't let go of that. Because I couldn't be perfect, good enough just simply was not on my radar. It felt very unacceptable and very lazy to me. As you know already, if you've been following me for any length of time, or for those that aren't, I'm going to repeat this. 2016 has been what I've billed my year to get out of my own way. I started to recognize patterns in my behavior that just were not working. They had shown up time and again, and I reached a place where I was like, enough is enough. I have to change, and what are some things I can do? A friend had recommended to me years prior to probably the fall of 2015, reading a book called The Gifts of Imperfection by Brene Brown. I would say that and walking, which allowed me a lot of reflection, those two things were kind of the catalyst for some changes that I decided to make coming in 2016. In viewing perfectionism quite differently and seeing how that was affecting my mindset and my feeling of self-worth were huge. Okay. So there's a couple of different concepts I want to talk about relative to this good enough. All right. The first one is this: we reach a point of diminishing returns. So if you're giving, like 85 to 90% effort, that isn't easy by any means, but the higher we go up in effort or the longer that we go at something, you're going to reach a point of diminishing returns, meaning that you're going to exude and exert much, much more energy for every tick up in corrections, efficiency, gains, improvements, however you want to say this. So you just don't see the return on investment. And what happens is it kind of wears on you and you get bogged down mentally from that. So what I'd like to say is if you have put forth your 85 to 90% effort and you have made, great strides, that's good enough. Okay, move on to the next thing. And rather than keep dumping your energy and effort, which is on a limited supply, we know this, move on to the next thing. Okay, what you did was good enough. All right, there'll probably be a time in the future where you can go back and your skills have changed, your variables have changed in your life, and you'll be able to focus on whatever again and maybe make some more improvements. But for where you are right now, if you've hit that 85 to 90%, like effort, what you can do without having to exert tons and tons of energy to make 92%. I don't have a really good example here as far as like how you eat or how you move. Maybe something would be in eating clean, okay? I have issue a little bit with that designation of foods anyways, but if you have carved out, say, 90% of the foods in your pantry and your fridge don't contain a lot of mystery ingredients, are fairly clean, meaning you know what the ingredients are, you're buying good quality stuff, you're buying whole foods, you're making more things from scratch versus, boxed convenience foods, then when you rely on, say, boxed convenience food, or you buy that condiment that you love but it's loaded with weird ingredients, or you eat out, or you're at a dinner party at someone else's house where you don't have control of the food there, okay, you have made 90% of the effort in your life with the variables that you can control. So let the other 10% go. It's good enough. You don't need to control what's going on at someone's party. Enjoy it. Make the best choices there that you can and let the rest go. Okay? If you've done the 90% in how you eat daily, then don't sweat your occasional meals out. Make the best choices you can. Pick vegetables, pick steamed vegetables, pick one part of your meal to indulge versus having the cocktail, the appetizer, the heavy entree, and the dessert. Okay, pick one thing. So be sensible, but you did the work. You got 90% of the way there with the things in your household and within the realm of your control. So it's okay. That's good enough. It's okay if you have, a chemical or a preservative there. You've really done a 180 from what you were doing, so that's good enough. The effort that it would take for you to not eat out or find all the restaurants and order all the things that don't have any sort of preservative or anything in that you want, that's a lot of mental energy. That's a lot of thought and thinking ahead and special ordering. And if those aren't things that you want to do, then call it good enough. Okay, so that's kind of one example I can think of where you've exerted the effort, say up to that 90% point, and then call it good and ease up on the rest. Okay, the other thing that I fell prey to in this good enough thing is if it wasn't good enough. Okay, so there's two ends of it. There's the perfection side where you think you're not doing enough, you have to do more. There's also this weird kind of flip side to that, where if you aren't doing what's good enough, we don't do it at all. Okay, so I'll put this one in terms of movement. A lot of times, if the day kind of goes awry and we don't have time for our full workout that we had planned or our hour walk like we had planned or whatever it is, well, 10 minutes isn't good enough, so I won't do anything at all. All right, so we cheat ourselves out of something and instead choose nothing because we think the something isn't good enough. In reality, anything that you choose to do to add to that pile, I call them the pile of wins, or those pebbles, you're building a mountain one pebble at a time, you got to get those wins. And a 10-minute win is going to be way better for your overall progress and your mindset than, oh, it wasn't good enough, so I'm not going to do anything. All right, does that make sense? Can you see how in your life, variables kind of get in your way? So I'll give you an example with movement again. You had planned that you were going to do your morning workout. Turns out your kids were awake in the middle of the night, or you didn't feel good, you woke up, you didn't sleep well, so you slept in and you didn't get up and do your 6:30 a.m. workout or 5:30 a.m., whatever it is, okay? So you're thinking, or you might have once thought, I can't get my full workout in, so screw it, I'm not going to do it today. What is 10 minutes going to do? How is that even going to help me? Sorry, my machine's going to sleep here. So what you could do instead is, all right, let's recollect. I didn't get up like I had planned. What can I do instead? And if the answer to that is 10 minutes running up and down your stairs, or a 20-minute walk at lunch, or a 40-minute walk after you get home or after dinner that night, or if it's 10 minutes of say easy cardio like body weight stuff, jump squats and jumping jacks and split jumps and push-ups, stuff like that, do that. Find 5 exercises, go a minute for each exercise, repeat 2 times. And if 10 minutes is what you have, you make the best use of the 10 minutes that you can. Go full tilt, get breathless, rest when you need it. All right? Every effort that you make counts for something. There is nothing that is not good enough. Every step, every small thing adds to the pile of wins. And the more wins we get, the bigger that goes and the more confidence you gain. So I just want to impress upon you, don't think that whatever you choose is never good enough. That's not true. Simply throwing in the towel and believing that if you didn't do all of this, that this is not good enough isn't true. This is something. This tiny little bit, even though you had planned this tiny little bit is something. And something will always contribute. And that's an action. And we always want to be doing something. Something will trump nothing every single time. So don't fall into that good enough trap on either side, on either one of those examples I gave you. I think that is really it. I have a few other notes, but I kind of talked about those throughout. And I want to keep these around the 10-minute mark if I can, because I'm afraid I'm going to lose you otherwise, because I know we're all busy. You don't need to be sitting here listening when you have a busy schedule. So I'm going to wrap it up there. Try and reframe how you look at good enough. It doesn't have to be perfect, but we want something instead of nothing. All right, so those are the 2 pieces. The last thing I want to announce is I have open for registration right now something called 14 Days of Feel Good, and I would love for you to join me and do this. I don't want to add to anybody's to-do lists on their day, and this is not going to be that. It's all about trying to add some happiness and lightness to your life. Being the A-type personality that I am very much about shouldering into hard work and getting done what needs to get done and taking care of business first and play later. And that's not bad per se, but what has happened to me in, well, most of my life, but most recently in the past few years, is I don't allow myself to do fun things or do joyful, light things until my to-do list is completed. And, well, we know the to-do list never is truly done. You might get a lot of ticks off of it on Monday, but come the next day, you're going to have more to do. That's just the nature of life. So what I want to show you in 14 Days of Feel Good is how you can incorporate moments into your day that help make you feel lighter. And when you feel lighter and more energetic and more joyful, lots of other choices are going to come easier for you. And not to mention, you're going to be able to cope through the irritations a whole lot easier. When you feel good, when you feel happy, all of a sudden traffic, yeah, it's an irritation, but you're probably not going to be flipping people off and be swearing to the degree that if you were like all the time, okay? When you feel light, you want to nourish your body. When we feel down, we're just like, oh, I don't want to cook, I don't want to move. But when you feel light and you feel happiness, all these other things kind of start to click into place too. So our happiness and our mood are not simply a throwaway to how we live our life. They are an enhancement and they are a key piece to it. It all ties together. All right. So 14 Days of Feel Good. It begins on October 24th. The first email will come on October 23rd, and you will get the day's email the day prior. So day 1 is the 24th. You'll get the email for day 1 on the 23rd, and so on and so forth. So you get a preview of what's coming for the next day. Okay, it's all going to be things that incorporate or sit on top of things you already have or things you already do. Okay, this is not you having to carve out an additional 10 minutes to 30 minutes to do any of these things. They are part of what you're already doing on a daily basis, because I don't want this to be intrusive. I want you to add this in, and I want you to see how being happy can simply be part of what you do every day. All right, the sign up is below this video, or you can head over to my Facebook business page at Head in the Game Fitness. The cover photo is there. It says 14 Days of Feel Good, and then there's a sign up button in blue right below that. Click that, get yourself on the list. If you have questions, shoot me an email. It is questions@headinthegamefitness.com. I would be happy to answer anything. Or if you've got some comments, put them below, and I'm happy to talk about this whole good enough concept with you too. Have a great day. Ooh, I'm trying to hit that 10-minute mark next time. All right, guys, I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.